to Upstage Downstage with him, Richard Platt, seated in the upper circle.
And him, Stephen Rees, typically seated in the cheap seat.
This is the Theatre Podcast, where we discuss productions we've seen,
Things we've liked,
and may not have liked,
giving our complete unprofessional
and non-biased opinions.
So grab a brew,
Take a seat,
and let's raise that curtain.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing Noises Off. We saw this production at Birmingham Rep on the 1st of September 2023. Written by Michael Fran, this hilarious play within a play is consistently lauded as one of the funniest plays of all time. Having had multiple Tony Award nominated runs on Broadway and numerous London revivals, with its unique peek behind the curtain at life in the world of theatre, the show becomes a favourite of professional and amateur companies around the world. So Richard, what's it all about?
This classic British comedy careens along at breakneck speed as Noises Off shows the on and off stage antics of a touring theatre company. We watch as they stumble their way through mounting their fictional farce with nothing on, from chaotic final rehearsals before their opening night in Weston-super-Mare to a completely calamitous matinee in Ashton-under-Lyne, which we see entirely and uproariously silently from backstage. We even get to share their final, brilliantly catastrophic performance in Stockton-on-Tees.
But first, our post-show opinion!
I feel just like Act 2, flat.
And I listen to some white noise instead.
So with all that said, let's...
Set the scene!
Okay,
Yeah.
Richard. What do you mean, yes? This is it. This is the one I've been waiting for. Noises Off!
Let's switch it off, please.
Oh. Is that your post-show opinion?
Not yet.
At the very beginning, if you remember, or if you've listened, I did say that I'd seen this before in 2000 and between 07 and 09. I can't remember which one it was, but it was the one with Colin Baker in.
Yeah, and I've seen it twice, and I can't remember who was in it, but I've seen it twice in my life. Before this
and it was
intonation.
one of my favourite plays, so we managed to get to see it again.
We did.
Would you like to set the scene then, Richard?
Well, this is a production all about doors. So what you expect is to walk into an auditorium with a set that is literally doors. So in a way, it's set in a mid-century townhouse where you in the middle of in a well-to-do
It's a manor
area.
house, isn't it?
Manor house, yeah. Well, yeah.
Townhouse? I wouldn't say townhouse.
Well,
It's like in the sticks, isn't it?
yeah. So yeah,
On the French windows.
you're in almost it's a living room setting with 7 doors surrounding it. So this house is big because it's always somewhere else to go off. You've got a staircase leading to a walkway above, which it just links to all the doors above, and also a trip hazard for the cast. You've got just from the below the doors at the bottom of the underneath the walkway, you've got a bit of a step onto stage, which is a little bit strange. I did find that a little strange. You'd have thought it'd be floor level, so it just offers another thing for the cast to be aware of. And then you've just simply got a sofa, a table with a phone on it, a couple of sideboards, and there's just a window at the back of the stage to show the outside world that they're in We've got a lovely out view of plants and trees and things like that. So it's obviously in a well-to-do area. There's certainly no sign of living in squalor, shall we say?
But it's also meant to be, obviously, a staging because it's a play within a play.
Yeah.
And also looking at it now, I'm just thinking, well, the doors above the stairs, the landing, they go straight out onto the grass.
Yeah.
Don't they, if you think about it?
They do.
Why would you? I mean, if this was
I mean, you've obviously got one that's clearly a front door, so that,
downstairs, yes,
Yeah.
but then upstairs you've got these 2 doors above the French window and the front door, which go clearly into rooms, but the rooms must be above.
And the house looks like it's overhanging.
Yeah, it's overhanging
the
the front garden, which is a bit
Suspect.
It's quite funny. It adds to the bizarre humour of this play anyway. So that's the set. So that's the set. Well, have we actually described it? No, because there's the stairs to stage left.
Yeah.
That obviously just go
Stage
up.
right, dear.
Stage right. Oh, it's because I'm looking at it. And so stage right, they just go up and above at the back and across the landing. And that's that.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah. So it's...
And in a way, it typifies any version of Noises Off. If you Google Noises Off, you'll see a very similar set design as this.
Yeah. So
in the way it's laid out.
yeah. So this is going to be for acts 1 and 3. You will see this set, and for act 2, it rolls round. Yeah, and we have the whole second act backstage view of this. So then again, we see the stairs. Obviously, not done upstairs, but typical scaffold, sort of like wooden stairs or metal stairs out the back for the actors to go up with prop tables and all sorts of stuff like that. And the second act has got, I think, the toilets and the green room.
Yeah, and the call area for the stage managers. They've got the call points and everything, and the backstage. The exit onto the road, really, to the off stage, really.
Off. Noises off.
To the stage door, really, back out into the real world.
Into the riffraff. That's correct. So there we are. That's the staging.
Well, it is.
Quite simple, but it's more handy if you could Google image it, or there's plenty of other search engines out there.
Other search engines are available.
Yeah. DuckDuckGo, or is it Quack Quack Gone or something?
I don't think you can ask Jeeves anymore.
Oh, you can.
I don't think you can.
I think that's with Bing. I think. Or something. I think it's been brought out.
Yeah, but if you wanted to speak to Jeeves, I mean...
Do you remember the little paperclip you used to get?
I do, yeah. Yeah, it's sad that the paperclip's gone.
Yeah. Who have we got now? Oh, Alexa.
Siri.
Siri.
It's all very serious.
Oh, yes. A little bit Alexa. Right then, moving on. This is a fantastic comedy farce by Michael Fran. And... so the actors are portraying characters which are... No, the actors are playing actors portraying characters in... not Noises Off. It's sounding... No, what was it? Nothing's On. That's it. The play is called Nothing On, and they're rehearsing this particular scene in the play. And we begin with Michael Shepherd being the director, who starts shouting at them because the actors are coming on. They're either missing the props, missing their lines... could do with another rerun, and the first bit is very much it's a tech, isn't it? The dress or tech?
Yes, it's a
dress.
The whole production is, you see the change from the starting blocks of actually rehearsing and putting on a production, right the way through to the end of the run after the tour has toured all the way around the country and then come back to its final resting place almost.
Yeah, for each act.
Yeah, throughout the act you see the change, So
Act 1 is the dress run, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the
technical.
It's the stop and start dress run.
It's that kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. So we have a lot of such as not here anymore. They've gone somewhere else. And do you want sardines or do you not want sardines?
And you can start feeling some of the tensions between the characters, like at that point.
And it builds it up, and you begin to see the individual characters. So Mrs. Clackett, she's trying to be batty, or she is batty.
She's the one who runs the house.
Yes, that's right. She's playing that. And then you've got the gentleman coming in who's selling or renting or renting out the manor farm, and he's very much one of those actors like. Are you sure I should be stood here? Is it what I'm trying to say? Is and
when actually his character's quite almost common and he's got quite in his original persona, he's quite questioning every move he makes.
Exactly, he wants to know why he's doing this and the other for such a silly show, really.
Yeah, it is
but he's trying to find a.
Yeah, it's not you're not at the RSC, darling.
Well, he probably thinks that, but he probably works like that. And then you've got the two people who own the house. They come in, don't they?
Yeah.
I just think of him as now Nigel from EastEnders.
Yes, yeah, totally.
I didn't recognise him without the hair.
No.
I knew he was familiar, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And then him and his wife come in, and things have been moved around.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually, I've just skipped ahead because obviously the actor guy who comes in, he's got his scantily clad lady friend
who he works with.
Yes, and her character is
works
very
in
much
more than one way.
Yes, and she's very much line perfect. She will not deviate from that, and you see that in her character. And also, is it whenever she sneezes, her contact lenses come out?
Yeah, she always loses a contact lens.
Yep, and so we already know the building blocks to these characters.
Yeah.
So that's setting it up for the farcical elements later on when it all happens.
Yeah.
Because we know that she's going to react like that, he's going to act like that, and those kind of things are going to happen. And then obviously the people who own the house, they come in, and there was some business there, wasn't there? They were meant to be away, but they've returned for tax reasons, but they're not. To Mrs. Clackett, the housekeeper, they're not there. Do we really need to explain the plot?
I don't think so. I think we've explained the basics of it.
Because it might just spoil it.
I think we've explained the basics of it.
I have, you mean?
How I described the set.
Did you? Oh yeah, you did.
You filled the gaps in.
There's a lot of gaps to fill. So in terms of the writing, then, no, it's not going to be a difficult one because we love it.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is fantastic. It's a great farce.
It is.
Now,
it's very repetitive in its structure, so that's probably why the actual one scene is played out more than once, isn't it? So
yes, yeah. So it's all about the build-up and everything. Especially if ever you've been in amateur dramatics as well, you'll probably understand a lot of it as well. You'll get the
even if you've not had everything happen in a production, you'll have had parts of this happen in a production you've done, or the next one, or you'll have come across this type of.
It's a good indicator of how plays are actually, or the kind of things they have to put up with
during
the play.
The play. It's the chaos behind the scenes,
Yeah.
It's showing all that.
Right then, so let's just move along now because this is slightly awkward. I feel like I've gone brain dead. So the directing on this one, it was directed by Lindsay Posner. Now, I've seen this one done before.
Yeah.
The direction is pretty straightforward in terms of what you'd do with it, because I think the only things that are noticeable with the show I saw was in the second act, where it just seemed to have lost its energy, lost its pace. The comedy timing, the bit with the axe being passed around as if they were waiting for it to be passed around. The direction was there, but the actual performance on the night was a couple of seconds behind the beat.
It felt a little bit like there'd been less work done on hiding the faults and the things that were going to happen. You knew it was coming because there was some hesitancy in performance a little bit, rather than it didn't feel organic when things happened as it should.
I think I know what you mean, because even though it's supposed to be a show within a show, so things are going to go wrong, it went beyond a farce to stupidness.
It's not
like it wasn't done right.
It's not the Les Dawson playing music badly, but knowing exactly how to play a classical piece of music, and just missing a note and knowing he can do it. It was too predictable. You could see the build up. You could see things happening.
And I think it does stem from Act 2, because, like I said, it was the bit where they passed the axe, the bit with the cactus, and he sits on the cactus. So the cactus goes up his bum or something like that.
Yeah,
that seemed to have been. That was.
It felt like there was some throwaway moments where it was like there wasn't enough emphasis on the things that should have been funny, and it came a bit flat. I think
the whole second act was very flat. The one we saw, whether it picked up after that, I don't know. We might have to go and see it again. But
the key for all to make it look funny you can't laugh at it. It's got to be done as though people are genuinely falling out, people are genuinely arguing, and these things are happening while they're trying to put a production on, and it's about that chaos, but it just seems to lack the energy and the power.
I think for the farce to happen in that sense, the key is I think speed.
Yeah,
because you can't dwell on it for too long. If you dwell on it, the moment's gone, and you're still doing it. So the bit with the characters being chucked down and then being stuck up a bum and sat on, that was a bit cringeworthy. There was a bit where both the woman and the guy need to go out of 2 different doors wearing the same sheet over to cover them, and that got stuck. So there was a bit of like, it didn't look like a farce. It looked like an awkward production.
And for me, it's the shoe tying scene where they tie both laces together. I've seen it before, and I'll be honest, the previous versions I've seen, those shoes were tied, the person falls before you even have a chance to realise, oh my god, she's just tied his shoelaces in anger to make him fall over. Whereas this time it just felt like, oh, she's tying his shoelaces and oh, he might fall over. It just felt that's
and
the
I think
energy level.
Because that took forever to do as well. Like she was proper putting new bootlaces in to tie them up rather than just tying them up quickly.
Yeah, and that's
out
where
of anger.
It felt. You could see the magic behind the trick, and that's the problem. You could see the little bit that shouldn't be seen, and I think that's where it didn't work.
Yeah, like they lingered too long on a particular thing.
It's like it should be more about it, because in a way it's like the sleight of hand of a card trick. You don't want to see the sleight of hand, but you felt like you were being presented the move, and it's like, we don't need to. You've got to practice that more.
You see the move whilst the other car's neatly being tucked away into the pocket.
Yeah, and we were watching it too. It wasn't like bang, 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 and it's done. And like that with the axe, because there was a moment where there's a scene when they're swinging the axe about, and he swings it behind his back,
and then it goes past,
and somebody else has grabbed it before they've even finished swinging it. Whereas this time, they swung the axe behind him,
and it was waiting around,
just waiting for it to be tucked, and it's just
and.
He said the whole point of this production is to be so fast-paced that you haven't got time to compute it, and it's just funny because it's so. And
it's supposed
witty.
To be funny because of that. Now, it was directed like that.
Yeah.
Now, whether it was because we saw it the first run, the first tour in Birmingham. So this is what I mean. Whether it's better in the West End or whether it's got better on the run, I'm not quite sure. No. But it was very, we're actually doing this now. Or what do we do? What do we do? Oh, yes, this is it. It felt very much first night.
Yeah, and it wasn't the first night. It was a couple of nights in. You know,
I hope it got better, because that, for me, it just made what I love, this play, just seem a bit, I'm quite embarrassed for it now. It shouldn't be like this.
And it shouldn't be like this when it's a production that is actually should stand up on its own, and it's not the first time it's been done. So for me, I'm less forgiving when it's a professional company that are doing it.
Absolutely.
And you're seeing it when the bar's already set. Everything's already there. You know, there's many versions of it, but you don't mess with it. And you do it how it needs to be done. And I think there's an element of complacency that comes from that, because it's a well-established play. The question for me is, have they relied on the fact that it's a good production, rather than working on it and giving it the strength it needs, and just thinking we've put really good actors in, but have we actually created the right type of thing? You know, that gave them enough direction.
I'm not sure, because I think the direction was there, but I think it was just patches. Now, whether that stems to the actors, because when you say it was cast well, it sort of was, but there were some, like the younger ones, felt a bit like you knew they were new.
Yeah, I think
or
for
straight
me,
out of like school. So
I think maybe from what I mean is, on paper, the cast should have been able to do it, as in. You know, whether they haven't got the skills to do it. It didn't seem like they gelled together as maybe they should have.
Oh, that was it. Yes, no.
I think that's what it was. I don't know how long they had to rehearse before they got on stage. or did they spend a lot of time not on the set because it was being used for the London production? So they were doing a lot of this without the set, and then they're thrust into the set in Birmingham. You know, you can balance it with that as well.
Yeah,
you know, I think
possibly. But we're
We don't
relying
know, we're
on
just
excuses
suppose,
and supposology.
And I think we don't want to give excuses for a production that should be strong from the outset. Really, if it's, you know, even I don't know how much different the London production was, and it makes you wonder if that was as strong as well. I know it's going back to London, so.
Oh, is it? Not with this cast though.
No, Matthew Horn. That's the one that he's
yes,
going
of
back,
course,
yeah.
yes.
But even so, it's the same set. It's just going to be.
Felicity Kendall's in it, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been nice to have seen her. Overall, it was a good production. Yeah. The people next to myself, they were new to this, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. But I think when we've seen it before, and you know what to expect, and you know how quick the farce has to be, you can pinpoint the weak bits a mile out.
Easily.
Yeah, because
any lag in time, you can feel it as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like,
and the awkwardness, because it's like, if this was Amdram.
It moves from not being as nowhere near as funny as it could be, you know, and I think that's the annoying bit.
Yeah. But on the whole, I felt it was all right direction.
Yeah, I mean, because you also don't know if the cast resisted the direction because they trusted the production as well. You don't know, as much as...
Yeah, the thing is, with this, it was very similar in terms of the direction for the characters.
Yeah.
That I'd seen previously. So, I don't know. I think it was just adequate. But yeah, the whole Act 2 bit...
It needed tightening up massively.
Yes. Because that's the pivotal bit. That's the bit where all the chaos happens.
And that is also the bit that is unexpected in the production. And it just felt like, it didn't give me the feel that I've had when I've seen it before, where you're like, oh my God, the set's turned around and off we go. And they hit it with the same energy and they're running about stage. Because it's almost like... It's like running a relay race to get their piece, because they're falling out on backstage. It's the relay race of getting on stage at the right time. And while even though somebody else is, it's like you've gone swimming and somebody's took your costume, and then you've got to run off and get something else to wear, and you've got to do something else. It's that panic, and it didn't feel like that panic in Act 2. And I think that was what was missing. It wasn't there was no intensity of like everything happening, and it didn't feel disorientated, which it should feel like the whole cast. Even though they've got to pay an audience,
Why did you immediately go to swimwear on this one? On this
no,
analogy?
I'm just saying, there was no panic of coming back from swimming and all your clothes have gone. They didn't feel like that, element of.
It's very much like a silent film or a Charlie Chaplin-esque thing. It's slapstick at the back.
It is, totally.
So they need to be far more quicker.
Yeah.
But what we saw was just a mess.
I felt like there was lack of composure when they walked out onto stage.
I think lack of character as well.
But lack of difference of character, because they're two characters.
Yeah.
So when you walk out on stage, they've got to present themselves to an audience, out to the fake audience out at the front, to show that they've changed. They've done that wipe your face moment, or sort of snapped out of falling out. Theatre, darling, we've got to perform, and then walk back off stage and go mad again. And it just didn't have that dynamic.
There was a few of them that did small changes in terms of that. Dan Fredenberg, I did notice he changed from having to perform and then coming back in, being really aggressive because Mrs. Clackett, Dottie was basically in different positions,
moving things
sometimes
around,
sexual positions and stuff like that. But that wasn't even those sexual positions. That wasn't even brought out.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. But anyway, that's a bit unsure on the A great written script, but then with the direction.
Yeah, I mean,
unsure on that one.
Yeah, I am. I totally agree with that.
I don't really know
that's
what
the key
to say.
thing. It's unsure. It's like, because we don't know if it's the cast, the director. It's hard to because the set. Let's face it, the set's the same. I think I've seen this set before, so it's they've just pulled this set back out because if it works, it works.
It is meant to be a great show, but whether I'm just a bit fatigued because it is of its time, possibly, maybe. I'm not quite sure.
But for me, also, when this is a production that's been written and it's been out for quite a while, and other productions, the play that goes wrong and things like that, take reference from this to produce their production, that's when the bar's set high.
Yeah.
When other well-selling productions use this as their bar, you'd expect it to come in with that punch, and I think that's the that's why we all set a bar when you know it well.
I think if you think of it, obviously it's a comedy farce. However, the resolve.
Yeah.
Do you think that paid off? Because everyone comes through the window, all playing the same character. Yeah. Well, three of them: the director, Selsdon, the actor, and also the stagehand coming playing that part. But then do you remember how it finished?
Yeah.
How?
It basically ends up with them all coming out because one's gone off drinking, the other one's this.
No, but that's not necessarily the end.
Oh,
but
you mean right there?
The actual resolve of all the characters and stuff.
Oh, that's how much I paid attention to this version.
I felt it was due a comeback, but I'm not quite sure on the one I saw whether it worked. I think that's down to the actual actors.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And on that bombshell,
moving on to our next segment, as we say, we're here for the drama.
So the actors, Richard, we have Lisa Goddard as Dottie. We have Dan Frendenberg as Gary, Lucy Robinson as Belinda, Simon Coates as Frederick, and Lisa Ambalavana as Brooke, including Simon Shepherd as the director and Matthew Kelly as Selsdon. Now, I've said this before, Colin Baker was my Selsdon when I saw that, and he was blooming amazing. And I quite like Matthew Kelly, but in this role, no. I didn't like his performance. I didn't like his style of character.
It felt too awkward.
Yes.
I don't know what it was. It just didn't.
It just didn't work.
No.
It was like a horrible version. Like, just a weird kind of...
I think there was a lot of elements of just relying on the production to do the job. And I think that was... There wasn't as much pace. He actually, rather than providing the pace, I think he slowed it down sometimes. He was too laboured in some of the things he said. Yes,
I think his version of being drunk wasn't like a funny version of being drunk as well.
Yeah.
It just seemed very obvious, but very, what's that word? Very, but extremely sickening. No, because that's supposed to be good, isn't it now? Sickening.
Yeah.
It was an off-putting performance. I didn't like it.
Yeah, they just...
Sorry, just didn't like it.
Yeah, completely fine.
It offended
me. At the end
me.
of the day, I
think...
should have
that was a trigger warning.
Yeah, exactly. I think I just think he'd missed the mark on the character a little bit. I think it just didn't...
Well, maybe his version of the character just didn't float my boat.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not as if I'm going out of my way to comparing him essentially to Colin Baker or his performance that I'd last seen and that I really liked. However, this version was just not one that I liked.
No.
And the portrayal of Selsdon just seemed it was ugly.
It just felt laboured, I think, a lot of the time as well. I think that was it.
Yeah, that's a good word, that, laboured. You coming out with them tonight?
I've got some good ones today. I've built them up. We've had a break.
But there were some great performances from the other cast, obviously. Lisa Goddard. She was great as Dottie.
And Dan Frendenberg, he did a good job. He fell down the stairs right and things like that. Those are the moments.
He had high energy straight away. He was in that character. He was typically that character. Although, I think that character is supposed to be played younger.
Yeah.
However, he still played it with some guts and everything, and so he did that. Oh, obviously, it's Simon Coates who played Nigel from EastEnders.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
His characterization and his mannerisms and everything for that character. That was a very different version of that character I've seen, but quite good as well. I quite like that. And I think
Lucy Robinson did a good job.
I was going
to
to say
be honest.
she was probably one of the standouts that kept the energy a lot more throughout everything.
Yeah, and I think Lisa did as well. She kept her character all the way through.
I think it was in Act 2. I think she
did suck a bit of life out. I think at that point.
well, I wouldn't go that well. No, I won't go that far. But I think there was a bit of waiting around.
Yeah.
But she was involved with the axe bit, so whether that was her timing
Yeah,
issue or not,
maybe.
or
But then there's a combination of all of them. Maybe it doesn't take much for cast to slow down if they don't lift each other.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, And maybe the points where Gary had gone on stage and he wasn't in, it's very easy to think, well, they're listening to him out there, but you still need to be doing something on stage, waiting.
Yes.
And then that can easily mothball. It can not mothball. It can easily snowball. It can easily snowball to the well. It felt like moss on stage at some points, but it could snowball into it being slower and slower
more like
and slower
tumbleweed.
Because
I'll just cut you up now, aren't I?
Don't know what to say.
So if we talk about the props and the costumes, very much.
Yeah.
Great use of
they were all
costumes and props and everything.
There. The sardines looked believable enough, even though the plastic,
Yeah, the whole farcical element of the props being in the wrong place and all over the shop and the telephone wire.
Yeah.
There was good use of props, good use of
definitely
everything. To be honest, although that cactus that was just like an inflatable cactus. That was just wrong.
Was thrown away. That was a thrown away. That's why Act 2 was really strange, because there was no reaction from a cactus that's meant to stick you in the bum. It just didn't. It felt flat.
Do you know if you can get cactuses that are grown specifically to be stuck in the bum?
Well,
can you get them from
Boots?
You might get the cream from Boots.
It's a rare breed of cactus,
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you have to wait till a full moon.
Is that where you get yours from?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yes, that the cactus bit was a bit nasty.
I think it felt more like a farce within a farce within a farce within a farce. A little bit.
To be fair, I think that particular section or scene that should have been really good, or climatized to complete chaos. I could hear people's eyeballs rolling at some of the cringeworthy elements of it. Whether that hasn't stood the test of time. The whole, it's like the pie in the face thing, isn't it? The cactus in the arse.
But if it's done fast and the pace is right,
then it'll be funny.
Time to feel
dwell on it. But
No.
I think the way they did it, it was very much really. It was like an inflatable. It was a toy. It was just.
I don't know. It's almost like maybe it's a bit flat because they didn't believe it. Almost. It's like,
I don't think they believed it at all.
No.
Yeah, maybe they can't have a real cactus for health and safety reasons, or because they chuck it, or something. I don't know. I can't remember what they did. Years ago. But either way, it was just a bit. I think it was just a timing element, which we keep bringing up, or at least I do. Right then, so on to our next segment now. Oh, Richard, this is going to be a very short episode.
It is going to be short. It's not a bad thing.
No.
Moving on to our next segment, as we say,
What the Tech Is This?
Well, lighting-wise, it's general cover, and there isn't really anything over the top. There was just some traditional wall lights on the stage when it was in the Manor House. I mean, what you saw in the backstage area in Act 2 was a lot of cables, wires, the things I would see, or people who worked in theatre behind the stage, because a lot of the set design was showing that these walls are just built by 4x2 bits of wood and board in, and then there's a lot of tech hidden around and attached to those scenery and set pieces. So it's pretty straightforward. And then the other thing I suppose I can touch on in the technical bit was how they flipped the stage in Act 2, because they completely revolved the whole stage. Well, actually what had happened, some of the actual flats themselves on both stage left and stage right moved out of the way so that the middle portion can just flip completely. So there was certain bits that it detached. So, you can just see in the actual full stage version that under some of the stairs there's actually splits in the stage, so you can see where they actually certain parts of the stage actually broke, so they can actually just turn the whole thing out of the way so they can make it, even though, as Stephen, when you sat there, it did feel like a long time. The actual turn round to Act 2, where I have seen other ones
Do you mean
done.
Act 2 into Act 3?
From Act 1 to Act 2, and well, yeah,
No, because that was the interval.
yeah, sorry, yeah, but Act 2 into
Act 2
Act
into
3,
Act 3.
it felt a little bit longer than maybe it could have been, but and that can affect performance as well. The performance by the speed of the change round of the scene as well. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty traditional lighting and sound, really. Sound wise, there wasn't really a lot apart from the odd effect here and there, and that was it. There wasn't really anything, and the same music track because they were using they were replaying the same scene every time. So
yeah,
well, that was it really.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to this.
I think we've said it all in.
There wasn't necessarily anything specific, was there? Like anything that went wrong. Everything went right for the technical and the sound and stuff. So there wasn't much to it, as you say, because it's all about being a farce. It's all about the acting. Yeah. So that's the end of that one.
And now it's time for our Rewind Rewatch.
Right then, Rewind Rewatch, Richard.
I'll be totally honest, I'd rather watch one of the previous versions I've seen of it. And yes, I'd watch it again, but a different cast, please.
Oh my God. That is just perfect. I'm going to have to agree with you there. Yeah, this one just leaves me a bit cold and a bit unhappy, I'm afraid. Although, saying that, I did, mind you get this in all of them. This is actually also a film. They filmed it with Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And Nicolette Sheridan, I think.
I think so.
From Desperate Housewives. Yeah. And Superman.
Yeah.
Chris Reeves. Ray? No, Chris Ray.
Reeves.
Christopher Reeves, that's it. Not Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Ray. No. So, and the one I saw had Maggie Steed as Dottie. Anyway, yeah, no, I wouldn't rewatch any of it. Unfortunately.
Moving on to our final segment, as we say,
Call this a show? Summary, Richard, would you like to summarise? Noise is off. Your experience of it, sorry.
What
Summarise your experience of this play.
Of this particular performance, although it's a well-written production and a well-written script, I did think this one fell flat and it was less of a farce than it should have been.
I'm going to have to agree, to be honest. It started off quite good and then it sort of went a bit downhill when I wasn't too keen on Matthew Kelly being Selsdon. That was a bit of a low point. And then when we did finally get to Act 2, it was like, okay, this is all going to go, all chaos, all good.
Yeah.
This is what we're here for,
yeah.
the fun. And it was like, oh no, really? That was done bad. That was done a bit sloppy. And oh no. Thankfully, it was you that I saw this with, and not someone I was boasting this play about.
Yeah, totally. It's a good job.
Because the first time round, I took my sister to go and see it, and she loved it. But there's a couple of mates I wanted to go and take to see this, and I'm unsure if I want to go and show this version to them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know if they're going to improve those bits. If the bits I saw was just first week jitters or something, or if it's actually going to be like that.
I doubt it.
It might get worse if they keep doing it. So yeah, on the whole, I got through it. But it was funny. It's a funny script.
Yeah.
It is funny if you stick with it.
Scores then, please, Richard, for Noise is Off. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being a triumphant run of nothing on to Weston-super-Mare, and 1 being a complete plate of Mrs. Clackett's sardines. What's it going to be?
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Straight down the middle, because they did as much as they could, and I just think it needed more work. I felt like a little bit like it may have been unrehearsed, and they just trusted the script, and they might have known the lines, but it needed more work on the actual physicality of the production.
That's that second act, but again, it did feel like there was no connection between the actors, and there was nothing. There was no spark. There was no warmth. There was no warmth at all.
No, that's why I completely see it.
I agree with you, but I'm gonna have to go 4.
Yeah,
because it just wasn't. I was quite embarrassed actually. Not too embarrassed, but I wouldn't want to
I don't think I'd want to take friends to come and see this, unfortunately. No. I'd see it again, but not this version. So, what sound effect will you be choosing from the following? A complete train wreck? Tumbleweed? An audible shrug of the shoulders? A slow clap? A pleasant applause? Or a standing ovation? What will it be? I'm going to go for a slow clap. So there we are. That's our discussion of Noises Off. We hope you found it insightful.
If not, entertaining.
Stay tuned as we bring you more of our thoughts
and opinions
on many theatrical delights in future episodes.
If you'd like to get in touch, email us at upstagedownsstagepod@gmail.com. You can always join in the chat to share with us your views of a production.
Also, make sure to follow, share, like and subscribe to all our channels so you get every episode the second it's released. And we hope you join us again for another instalment of
Upstage Downstage. This classic British comedy careens
along. It careens. It's a word.
Okay. This classic British comedy. Classic.
Put your teeth in.
This classic British comedy careens along a this. I didn't actually needed to read it before I said it. This classic. What's going off? Clash
of the classics.
Sounds like I've got a brace in.
Well, embrace it.
Embrace it.
Embrace the words.
Feel the words. Be the words. We watch as they stumble their way through mounting. What?
Mounting their fictional farce. Nothing on.
Oh right, yeah, okay. We watch as they. It's because there's a comma. Which we see entirely and uproariously silent from backstage.
Silently.
What did I say?
Silent.
Oh, okay.
And Lisa Ambalavana. So I thought you were going to Google the play.
Oh! I have Googled it. Have you read it yet, Stephen?
No.
From the chaotic final rehearsals before the... I'm just blurring words, hold on. From the chaotic...
Just read it and then do it again, properly.
Yeah, the chaotic final rehearsals before... Once through. I can do this. It's because I can just...
Oh, here comes the blame game.
No, that's better. From chaotic final rehearsals before their opening night in Weston-super-Mare to a completely calamitous... Oh my God, you've got big words. You've done this on purpose.
Well, do you want to redo it?
No. I want to do it to completely calamitous matinee in Northumberland, where we see entirely and uproariously silent from backstage. We even get to share their finally brilliant catastrophic performances in Stockton-on-Tees. So with all that said...
Which we see entirely and uproariously silently from backstage. We even get to share their final, brutally catastrophic performance in Stockton-on-Tees.
I'm going to break it all. Hold on, then.
This classic British comedy careens along at breakneck speed as Noises Off shows the on and off stage antics of a touring theatre company.
On it.
Yeah, but I'm not. We watch as they stumble their way through mounting their fictional farce nothing on. I don't know what your problem is.
I'm going.